This episode's brought to you by the color green.
Ooh, that is sexy. I like that quite a bit.
Hey, it's your dandy, Candy, and I like to drink. Now, I know that may not be much of a shocker to y'all. I mean, come on, does it honestly look like I put this face on sober? But yes, it is true. I, Candy Sabrina Dandy, am indeed a fan of the adult beverages. Mostly wines, reds. I am fond of the grape juice plus, but I do occasionally hither-thither down the liquor aisle for other sips and spirits as well. And one in particular that's always tickled my pickle has been absinthe, a drink steeped in controversy that was so popular in France that it even rivaled wine at its peak and was favored by practically every level of social class, from the wealthy to the poor alike, before it was banned in multiple countries. So today, we're talking about absinthe. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this pretty little ditty, we first must preface. Oh, look at that drag queen fun. Oh my god. I am by no means a drink expert, a sommelier, a Dave Coulier, or a mixologist. I am just an artist with an interest. And this video is mostly going to be a cursory glance at the history of absinthe, and in particular its impact in France, as that was where it was most popular. So that out of the way, allons-y. Absinthe is a green, sometimes clear-colored spirit that originated in Neuchâtel, Switzerland in the late 18th century, comprised of sweet fennel, green anise, and wormwood extract, along with other medicinal and flavor-enhancing herbs. It's a pretty strong spirit with a high ABV that ranges around 90 to 148 proof by American standards, and is oftentimes served diluted with sugar cube and ice-cold water, which gives it a milky green appearance because of the terpenes in the anise extract. It has a strong taste and smell of anise, which, if you're not familiar with anise on your flavor palette, it's oftentimes used as a substitute for licorice. So think like black jelly beans. Absinthe tastes and smells like black jelly beans. Invented by French Dr. Pierre Werner, absinthe was originally marketed as a medical cure-all rather than a recreational beverage, and it was this medicinal approach that caused its popularity amongst the French troops in the 19th century, where it was given as a malaria preventative, and their taste for absinthe carried on into the civilian lives. The demand for absinthe was so popular that practically every establishment that served alcohol, from bars to bistros to cabarets, would oftentimes refer to 5 o'clock or happy hour as the green hour, with mass production increasing its popularity even further due to the cost of making it steeply dropping. So much so that by 1910, the French were drinking around 36 million liters of it annually, compared to the average 5 billion liters of wine. And then it got banned. It got so fucking banned. Oh, not everywhere, mind you. No, you could still find absinthe in places like Spain up until the 1960s, when the demand for it lessened to the point where it was no longer feasible to continue to produce it. The Czech Republic, which played an important part in its revival in the 1990s. And the UK, where it never really took off. Suppose it didn't taste like the right kind of beans for their liking, eh, love? That was perfect. It's so chim-chimaroo. But a lot of countries did ban it, in particular France, who was not only one of the main consumers of the product, who at this time had moved on to other anise-flavored beverages like ouzo from Greece and pastis, but also one of its main producers and distributors, which made finding it very difficult. Now, the reason for the ban was over the wormwood, one of its key ingredients, and in particular the chemical compound thujone, which a lot of the propagandists claimed would cause people to go mad and drive them to all kinds of acts of lunacy and insanity and murder most foul, which is arguably preposterous. Preposterous. That's a word. Preposterous. Which is arguably preposterous given the trace amounts of wormwood actually in absinthe, as it would require you to drink several gallons of absinthe in one sitting, neat, mind you, before you would ever even get a hint of those psychotropic effects. And because of the high ABV, again, 90 to 148 proof, in absinthe, you would more than likely either pass out or die from alcohol poisoning before you ever get to see Kylie Minogue in a Tinkerbell dress. I should go ahead and put a disclaimer in here that was by no means a challenge. It is totally fine for you to imbibe every once in a while, but know your limits and drink responsibly. The last thing I want to hear is about some story of some dumbass giving themselves alcohol poisoning because they claim that some clown on the internet challenged them to a drink-off. In actuality, the ban was more or less a smear campaign that was conjured up by the temperance movement, who essentially just wanted to ban all of the alcohols in general, and the wine industry, who saw it as a golden opportunity to take out one of their major competitors. Allegedly. Now, I know what you're thinking. Candy, what does absinthe have to do with art? Well, absinthe was the drink of choice amongst the bohemian art scene at the time, and was believed to help stimulate creativity. And there were quite a few well-known artists and historical figureheads that swore by the Green Fairy to varying degrees and incorporated it into their own work. Dutch Impressionist painter and a personal favorite of mine, Vincent van Gogh, was very heavily connected to absinthe. In fact, hold on, I'm going to show off my nasty man hand here. Hold on. In fact, this bottle that I've got right here, I bought because it had Vincent van Gogh's face on the packaging that came with it. I know that's a little blind consumery of me, but fuck it, it also came with a free spoon. Irish poet and playwright Oscar Wilde, who wrote about drinking absinthe. After the first glass, you see things how you wish they were. After the second glass, you see things as they are not. Finally, you see things for what they truly are. And that is the most horrifying thing in the world. Whiskey, potatoes, whiskey, lucky charms, shiver me timbers. English author, mathematician, and photographer Lewis Carroll, who is most well known for his books Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. American novelist Ernest Hemingway, who is attributed as the inventor of the Death in the Afternoon cocktail, which combines 1 jigger of absinthe with chilled champagne till desired cloudiness, and it's recommended that you drink about 5 of those. With this eye. No, I'm not having a stroke. I'm trying to be sneaky. Wink. French modernist painter Edouard Monet, Spanish painter, pioneer of the Cubist movement, and another personal favorite of mine, Pablo Picasso. Legendary horror writer and poet Edgar Allan Poe. American novelist Mark Twain, who was a frequenter of the Absinthe Room Bar in the French Quarter District. That was the home of that was the birthplace of the Absinthe Frappe, and a popular hangout spot for other celebrities and political figureheads such as Howard Taft, Walt Whitman, Theodore Roosevelt, and Aleister Crowley. Trent Reznor, whose song "The Perfect Drug" is about addiction to absinthe, and has one of the sickest drum and bass solos I've ever fucking heard on a Nine Inch Nails song. Just so fucking good. I fucking love that. Oh, give it to me, yeah. Woo wee. Marilyn Manson and Robert E. Lee. Now, this is just a small sample of all the famous people that are connected in some way, shape, or form to absinthe, being as it was a very popular beverage in both France as well as Nolans back in the day, and in fact was even incorporated into one of America's first cocktails, the Sazerac. Now, the ban on absinthe finally ended in the aughts, due to the popularity of its revival in the 1990s, thanks to a British distributor bringing over imported absinthe from the Czech Republic. Told you they were important. And you can easily find it at most liquor establishments now for you to enjoy for yourself. And I would absolutely recommend giving it a try, especially if you have a taste for anise. I mean, it's not replacing wine anytime soon in my personal rotation, but I do enjoy it from time to time. Usually I go with the French method, which is where you pour ice water over a sugar cube onto a slotted spoon. But I've also started incorporating mixing it with Mountain Dew Zero, which I think gives it a sweeter, more creamier texture and taste. Although obviously the anise definitely overpowers the Mountain Dew flavor, it does have a hint of that citric note at the end of it though. And researching this topic has definitely given me some scrumptious ideas for cocktails I'd like to try, particularly that Absinthe Frappe sounds delicious. So maybe I'll do a follow-up video one of these days actually trying out those different concoctions. The only type of cocktail I don't want to try when it comes to absinthe is the Flaming Green Fairy, which requires you to soak the sugar cube in absinthe and then set it on fire. Now, the main reasons for this is one, because first of all, it burns the absinthe, which kind of ruins the whole flavor of it. And two, I wear a lot of synthetic fabrics and a lot of grease paint, and those are not things you want to have around an open flame. In fact, fun story, when I was in the Navy, back in my Navy days, I knew a guy that would go down to Nolans every weekend because he was addicted to Flamin' Dr. Peppers. He loved them drinks so damn much that one night, he tried to drink one and forgot to put it out, and burnt half his damn face. Now, of course, he survived. Don't worry about it. He's fine. But he had to spend the rest of his time at that base wearing cold cream across half his face. So, probably don't mix open flames and alcohol. It's probably not a great idea. And I want to get this out of the way as well, because this is a thing that you're going to see a lot whenever we discuss artists and art movements the more we go along. And I feel that it's important for young artists to hear this. The stereotype of the troubled artist or writer or creative who relies on alcohol and drugs and stimulants for their creative process. This is a heavily romanticized notion. And in actuality, a lot of these artists and creatives not only had problems with their alcohol, they didn't have the best of relationships with their vices. And some of them even ruined their entire lives and died because of those vices. And though I am by no means a Sister Sally sober pants, I have my own vices as well, I will say this: alcohol and drugs do not make an artist great. They don't make your paintbrush strokes smoother. They don't make your pen lighter. Look at all this art that you see behind me right here. You see this? All of these pieces I did sober. They're not a magical potion that instantly makes things better. Like I said before, it's totally fine to have a drink. I ain't your mama. But know your limits and drink responsibly. Because the only thing you really need to be a great artist or writer is yourself. I think we'll leave it off on that. Now, if you like this video, you know the dilly. And if you want to check out some of my art, go ahead and head on over to our Etsy shop, etsy.com/shop/candydandyart. We are currently working on some Absinthe themed pieces that should be up on the shop soon, so keep an eye out for those. Well, this has been Candy Dandy. Merci pour votre temps, and I hope you have a good one. Thank you for being a friend. I don't know the rest of the song. Oh, that's better. Okay. Today's assignment was the color green. These gloves right here are absolute fucking ass, and I'm about to go full Maxine on this fucking glove because of these tiny fucking pinkies. Hey, it's your dandy. Fuck. Why do I do that every time? I know that may not be much. But yes, it is true. Sabrina. This is what I get for giving myself a middle name. Absinthe is a clear, sometimes. Let's sassafras that bitch. Of sweet anise, green fennel, and absinthe essentially tastes like a glass of black jelly beans. Absinthe was originally for the sweet drink. Sweet drink. Bitch, that ain't sweet. The demand was. And then it got banned. It got so fucking burned. You'll find which acts as an antagonist on the GABA receptors. Yo, GABA, GABA. Mama la, mama la, Violette, mama la. For some reason, my evil-eyed pendant keeps looking at my keeps looking at my titties. Maybe it's trying to tell me that the evil's within. I had cleavage, but then my cleavage tape said, you know what? Fuck it. C'est la vie. Why do I keep fucking up their name? Allegedly. Candy Dandy Dandy. Candy Sabrina Dandy. Whiskey potatoes, whiskey, lucky charms, shiver me timbers. No, the song just. It's a creeper. Etsy.com/shop/candydandyart. That the only important tool that you need to be a great writer or artist is yourself. Merci pour votre temps.